You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cricket Podcast, where it falls to me, I have the undoubted honour of announcing who's going to win the IPL 2023, according to our Patreons who've been voting through the night for the order in which they think the teams are going to finish. We've been through 9 teams, so if any of you have been paying attention, you'll know who it is that they think are going to take the honours. It's last year's disaster case, the year before that disaster case. The boys in orange, it's Sunrisers Hyderabad, one-time winners in 2016. They're going to do it. They've got rid of Kane Williamson, and that's all they needed to do. They are coached by Brian Lara. They are captained by Aidan Markram. And I'll give you your final fact for the IPL teams, for those who've just joined us, to find out who we thought was going to win and skipped all the other videos. We've been assigning all the teams a spiritual animal based on something to do with the region, animals in the region. And for Sunrisers, it's the palapita, which is the national bird, not the national, the state bird, sorry. And I've chosen this because it's just perfect, basically. In Hindu mythology, Lord Rama spotted the palapita before he invaded Lanka and vanquished the demon king of Lanka, Ravana. And so palapita has been chosen to put the state of Telangana on that path of victory. Just surely Sunrisers Hyderabad will be on the path of victory themselves this year.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. The palapita is a nice blue bird, if you didn't know. So why are they going to win? Well, they've totally revamped the squad, and now it's actually good. So that helps. They've got balance. They've got balance with bat and ball. They've got star quality. They've got a blend of youth and experience. They've got options to mix the lineups up. They've got defined roles. They've got backups for the roles, and it just looks like it might work. They benefited from the Punjab Kings moment of total insanity when they jettisoned Agarwal, and in he comes to the Sunrisers team as they jettison Kane Williamson to make a load of room to buy both Mayank Agarwal and now very clearly generational talent Harry Brook. That's a bit of an upgrade, isn't it? Downsides, potentially, I suppose. The guys that they need to step up are quite young. It's going to be Harry Brook's first IPL. At every turn so far, we've been like, okay, Harry Brook, he looks amazing, but he hasn't done this yet. And then he goes and does it immediately. So I have no doubt that on the back of people going, yeah, but Harry Brook's never played an IPL, he's going to immediately turn around and smash the ball everywhere. So I'm
it's
sure
the next AB de Villiers. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that could possibly be an issue is if they decide not to pick Adil Rashid to maybe strengthen the batting because it uses up an overseas slot. They might lack an elite spinner from that point of view. So there's a possible issue there, but it depends very much on how they go about putting their side together. But to be honest, it all feels a bit weird talking about Sunrisers in this positive light. The sun is surely rising for them after we had it setting in the last couple of years. But do you agree with the Patreons? Where do you sit on Sunrisers? Are we getting? Is it like when we saw Punjab Kings, and Dam took over the analysis? They got all these players. We thought they look really exciting. They're going to do really well. And then it kind of didn't quite work. Sorry, Dan. But is it going to be that again, or if they actually put together a unit here that's going to be really, really good and challenge for the top honours?
Do you want to know something interesting, Max, about the Patreon vote?
Yeah.
Nobody actually thought they were going to finish top.
Really?
They have won this poll because everyone thought they were going to finish second or third.
Yeah.
But nobody thought they were going to finish down the table.
That's interesting.
I think that actually tells you a little bit about the team. Like, I think what that says is that everybody who is sort of assessing these team squads is coming to the conclusion that this is actually a pretty well-rounded side that maybe lacks a kind of lightning rod galvanizing figure that you'll find in some of the other teams, but quite clearly has capability in many different areas. And as we've said a few times on the show, they're a team that look like they can win cricket matches in a few different ways. Now, could it all fall apart? Absolutely. It's Sunrisers Hyderabad. Lara is the manager, is the coach. I mean, like that's pretty bonkers. Historically, if you know a little bit about cricket from the 2000s, he wasn't a very good captain. So I think there's potentially things that could go wrong there. Agarwal, I think it's a great signing, but he wasn't great last year, let's be honest. So potentially something could go wrong there. I think Markram as an overseas captain is actually a potential weak point as well. Although,
just won the South Africa 20.
Yeah, and look, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I wouldn't say he was an elite level overseas player. And if he doesn't have a great tournament, suddenly you're carrying a guy who you would otherwise drop out of the squad. And as you said, Max, I'm not absolutely sold on the spin, but they've got so much I like about it that I'm actually, I think, on the bandwagon myself until the injuries come, obviously. Like it's
the inevitable injuries.
Going to get injured in the first match and they're going to finish ninth. Dan.
What a change! What a difference of opinion a year makes in terms of, this is ever since I've been on this podcast. I mean, I must have done quite a few podcasts with you guys now, probably well over 50, spanning a good few years. I don't think we've ever said anything positive about Sunrise in that entire time frame until today. Gone are the think tank duo of Tom Moody and Kane Williamson. Gone is this very, very boring lineup, basically. A team that I would never pay to watch apart from Rashid Khan, basically, and Abu very, very just uninspiring. And they've done a lot of recruitment in this mini auction, and on paper at least, it looks to be more of an attacking lineup, and props to them for that. The question marks, and there are plenty. Jack, you've alluded to a couple, I think, already. I was going to mention. Look, Brian Lara as a first gig in management, big risk. I mean, it's far from a given that a superstar ex-player will make a good coach, and secondly, as you say, also Aidan Markram as an overseas captain is a bit of a risk. There's no doubt that that's a bit of a risk. We've seen overseas captains really often not go that well in this comp because if they don't justify their position with the bat, then you're struggling, and those are definitely hurdles. I'm looking at phase distribution with their bowling, and I just don't see where the death overs are coming from. And those are, I mean, there are ways to solve that. So, for example, you can lose an Adil Rashid or an Akil Hussain at number 8 and play a Markande, and then you use that Faisal Faruqi or something like that as an overseas player. You can strengthen the batting if you use Marco Janssen, but he doesn't really bring death bowling either. So there are kind of like ways to solve these kind of problems. And I think ultimately Lara and Markram, if they make a lot of good calls, are in a position where they could get some success from this group. It's not given, but I do think that there are a lot worse teams on paper.
Ross, you are the Sunrisers hater-in-chief. One of the folk villains of Sunrisers Nation.
Yeah, I've made some money out of it as well.
Are you going to be wearing a hat this year?
Are you on the bandwagon?
I'm looking at this team. We're a big fan of Tripathi. We are a big fan of Harry Brook. Agarwal, one bad season doesn't make us the man. They have solved some difficult pieces. I think when we had the auction review, actually people were laughing that they spent how much on Henrik Klassen, and now look, he's a rich vein of form. He's filled a big gap in there. I think from a bowling perspective on the spin front as well, I actually think that Washington Sundar can serviceable off spin. I think Abhishek Sharma with left arm orthodox and a bit of Aidan Markram actually as a triumvirate could probably find you those 4 to 6 overs that you might well need and give you that flexibility. And yeah, I think they've also got some players who they can benefit from the impact sub as well. So, let alone I suppose it's the glass duo of Natarajan and Bhuvi Kumar.
Yeah.
But maybe they won't even need the death overs, right? You saw how exciting Umar Malik was last year. And yeah, there is some real
The whole
fire.
team's out by the 16th over. Is that the plan?
That's very bullish indeed.
Yeah, exactly. If this squad don't make the playoffs, it will be the single biggest catastrophe I think I've seen in the IPL since I started following it.
Wow, that is a claim. I mean, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? I mean, I think death overs wise. I mean, they've got Natarajan as long as he stays fit, right? They've got the Yorker man himself. But yeah, I mean, if he breaks down, if Booby breaks down, that's an issue. Do you think they're going to play Adil Rashid? That's what I want to know. Ross is shaking his head. You're in the no camp.
Batting depth will take a hit, I think, in terms of hitting strength. But to be honest with you, I'm still rather shaken at Ross.
He's totally derailed us.
He's turned from Sunrisers' biggest hater to thinking they're going to bowl out everyone in 16 overs and win every game.
you got to respect. You got to respect what they've done, and I think that is the big thing. It might be that bit they were coming from such a low level that actually what we're seeing on paper here is going to go. Oh my god, this is the difference is actually what is kind of enticing. But if we look at kind of some of the other teams, this is a well-rounded team. It's got a lot of experience in there as well. Might not have a lot of champion winners in there, but it's got still a lot of experience in T20 cricket. And yeah, I think with a fresh perspective from a leadership point of view, I think it will benefit them. But oh my God, do they wish that they had Rashid Khan still kicking about in the ranks?
I mean, that would be disgusting, wouldn't it? If you replace that questionable position of does Adil Rashid play with, here's Rashid Khan, you've just fixed both of the problems.
Everything, yeah.
That would
death bowling then.
Yeah, then I think if Ross is talking about it being the biggest travesty in the history of the IPL, I think we might have to agree with him. But even so, I think it looks pretty fierce. I'm really excited to see Harry Brook and how he goes. I think every cricket fan should be looking forward to seeing how he does. Tripathi had a pretty decent year last year, like I said. Clarkson's in top form. So I'm pretty bullish, and the Rajiv Gandhi International Cricket Stadium where they play their home games, one of the lower scoring grounds, but I mean generally pace does quite well there. Not massive on spin, so I think I'd probably agree with you all that I think Adil Rashid is probably not going to be first choice. You'd probably swap him out for someone with a bit more in terms of the batting, whether, if you go with Marco Jansen perhaps, or like you say, you could go for the domestic option. But I think maybe Marco Jansen, he's been there a while and done pretty well. He's turned himself into a bit of a hitter lately as well, wasn't he, in the SA20?
I think he's the big loser from the impact sub, Adil Rashid, because I think before that he would have been in the team.
Yeah.
And after that, then you can play Mark Ande and also swap him out. And I think Jansen probably ends up taking the gig off of him there, or at least in some of the games.
Yeah, there's a chance he plays in some of the more spin friendly.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I don't think he'll be first choice.
Or Akil Hussain, who also...
Well, yeah.
He can bet a bit, yeah.
And he can hit too, yeah. So.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, overall, you never thought you'd hear us say it, but we're positive about Sunrisers Hyderabad. I'm sort of a little confused. It's been a long evening of podcasting, so that's probably taken a bit out of me as well. I'm not quite sure where I stand anymore, but here we are. This is what we've got to. Are Sunrisers going to win the IPL, gentlemen?
No, but they will be in the playoffs.
What Jack said. 100% agree.
Ross?
Yeah, they'll bottle it at some point.
Right. I'm doing it. They're going to do it. Sunrisers
Okay, well that
Sunrisers for
makes
the win.
sense. Look, there's four teams in the playoffs. One of them's got to win it. It's 1 in 4 chance.
Right. So who is then?
Like that,
Do you want to put your colours to the mast? Do we want to name a winner each?
I
I've gone
think,
Sunrisers.
I think we do a live show sometime next week, and we'll invite people along. I'll do a big
purple
Q&A.
cap, orange hat, orange
Yeah.
cap. Yeah.
Right.
But for now, we've done enough.
We certainly have.
Thanks very much for listening, everyone. We're going to be doing a bunch of shows during the IPL, multiple shows per week. So make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast so that you are notified every time more content goes up. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Cricket Pod. You can email us, thecricketpod@gmail.com. Nobody ever does that anymore, do they? Mainly because it's always crazy people and we never respond. And so on. Dan, where can people find you as a final sign off? And then we will disappear.
On Twitter at SA_Advantage. On Substack, you can follow me, danweston.substack.com. I'll probably write loads about the IPL, and there's loads of stuff about impact subs as well. So if you haven't had a read of that, give it a look.
Great. All right. Cheerio, everyone. And thank you very much for listening and watching.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.